So what if this actually does go out of control? We'll be using basically the colors of the country's flags as well here. So basically, Iran gets attacked a few more times, and no other country has been able to de-escalate this entire conflict. Currently, we're at the moment we're trying to de-escalate the conflict, but what if the conflict never does and it spirals out of control? Israel misfires and attacks another country. They attack Pakistan. Pakistan immediately says Israel is trying to basically defeat the Muslim world as well. Afghanistan, the Taliban also joined the war as well here, starting a war here against Israel as well. Here. Here. Israel calls for a crusade against Iran. All Israel's allies should join to defeat Iran and its allies for real. The UK, France, Germany, all these countries that over here, Portugal, these countries here. Poland does not join the war, but several countries in Europe joined this war as well. Calling for this. And of course, India's joined the war because they want to defeat Pakistan as well. Then we have Japan and Korea join the war. We have Australia and New Zealand. And of course, the US and Canada as well, because we can't forget about North America. So, as well. And Mexico also joins the war as well. And we're going to call in these islands, even though they won't really do anything at all. Also, Denmark joins because we call it in Greenland. Sweden also joins as well, causing this war. Iran calls all countries, that are against the West to join the war. Every country that opposes the U.S., that opposes, joins. So China, North Korea, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Laos, Cambodia, Kazakhstan, and all these countries here, Russia as well, Iraq, Syria, as well as Libya, and these countries over here, Cuba, Nicaragua, and I think these are all the countries that oppose the U.S. I think there might be more in Africa as well here, and also South Africa joins the war as well. The Saudis, of course, join the war against Iran because they want to defeat Iran as well. So the Saudis and the UAE joins the war against Iran, as well as, of course, Ukraine's a part of the war too, and Belarus and Serbia join on the side of Russia as well. The first thing Serbia does is immediately try to take back Kosovo, which is this area right here, and they invaded, basically destroying Kosovo as well. Russia occupies, of course, Crimea, and as the area they already occupy. But the war is in the Middle East as well here. Kuwait has basically stayed the stance on being neutral. The Saudis use the military to invade Iraq as well here, and Syria is being invaded as well here. Lebanon, after being invaded by Israel like 20 times, declares war. Also the war of Palestine as well here. They basically invade and take over that country here. They're a very weak country though, but Then we have the Indian front line. So India invades Bangladesh. Bangladesh may have a lot of people, but Bangladesh is not a very strong country, as well as they're not really well known for the military. So India is defeating Bangladesh very, very quickly as well. Yeah. And of course, we have the war up here. So India starts to invade this area up here with very limited success, and they can't really invade this way. So they start to invade over here into Pakistan, but they don't really make it too far as India has to fight so many front lines at once. However, the Chinese front line against India continues to move this way as well. They send hundreds of thousands of troops to invade this part of India, and they do succeed in this. Uh, South Korea, you're screwed. There's no way around it. The U.S. will send troops to help Korea, but Korea is essentially 100% screwed as well. But the problem with this war is there are now protests in many countries because a lot of people are afraid of nuclear Armageddon as well. Protests in U.S. and New York, Chicago, L.A. against the draft, against nuclear war in general as well here. The U.S. and also Canada and even parts of Europe have reached levels of instability that they have never reached before as well here. Leaders in a lot of countries reach an all-time low. Russia continues to invade Ukraine, but with the full force of NATO army, they cannot really make it. It becomes a stalemate, and they actually start to be pushed back as well here. Serbia is basically screwed as well. They are being invaded relatively quickly as well here. So, but most people in Europe this is a very, very unpopular choice. This is why some countries like Poland, Romania, did not even join, or the Baltics as well, because this war is becoming very unpopular. The first country to leave because of protests is Portugal. Portugal is the first country to leave the war because the president's approval rating has gone so far down as well that they leave the war. These countries kind of leave, these African countries, they kind of leave the war because there is really no point in them fighting a war that they can't. That. So it really is just Libya at this point, and the European armies invade Libya as well. And Libya is again another very weak country, so they're not gonna do very well. So Libya is a very weak country, and they get defeated relatively quickly as well. And there we go. Same thing with Cuba. Cuba gets defeated relatively quickly alongside Nicaragua. They are defeated relatively quickly as well. But despite the war, being potentially on the good side, the Western country, and of course China invades Taiwan as well. Here they invade Taiwan, this area here, and however, the war in Asia is heating up as Philippines and Vietnam both declare war on China because China was violating their space as well. So both countries are officially at war with China. And the Philippines and Vietnam will let it know that China will basically lose this war. They start to invade China's allies very, very quickly as well. And they even cut off the south part of Laos and Cambodia as well here, cutting these off as well. The war in Saudi Arabia continues to pick up. The problem is Iran is actually a very unstable country. Yes, Iran is a very, very unstable country. There are massive protests against the war in Iran as well here. People have had enough, and Iran collapses into a civil war where revolutionaries want a fully democratic government and want to end to the theocracy as well here. the Iranian government will send resources from this front line to help to defeat this protest as well. And the world is shocked by the brutality that Iran struck down the protests as well. Yeah. Yeah, this causes a few more countries to join against Iran. This country, and let's say Argentina. They all joined the war against Iran as well. Yeah, and this gives the media gives the last, hey, they destroyed, they took down their own citizens. So yeah. However, this front line, Russia is kind of screwed. They can't really move this much here, and Serbia, well, they're defeated. Yeah. Yeah, we have the invasion of Russia. Yep. The thing is, Russia's military is not really that strong. Like let's look at how they struggled with Ukraine. So, but this war gives a huge morale, and then the invasion of Venezuela begins. Venezuela collapses into a civil war, however, so the government completely collapses. The U.S. occupies this little coastal area at this current moment as well. Same thing with South Africa. Like the government does completely collapses. Like they're sending military to help against Iran. The problem is a lot of countries are just not very stable as well. Iran's government is so unstable that the people basically are just letting them come in. The military is trying to stop them, but as well, the morale is so low on the green side that many countries that all the green countries are willing to come to peace to end this war, with the exception of Afghanistan and Pakistan as well. Yeah. Yeah, this causes this incursion to basically end as well here. Yeah. Yeah. And the only countries that refuse to make a negotiation is, yeah, these two. Bangladesh negotiates a truce with India and as well here. Same thing with Cambodia and Laos, which are completely defeated as well. With this leaves, and of course, Iraq completely surrenders. Same thing with Syria, and same thing with Lebanon. They completely give up the war. Most of these countries have basically said we're done with this war as well. Most countries are not really continuing the war. And what's left with Russia and China? The problem is Russia and China also have very great internal issues as well. The problem is a lot of these countries, like Russia, China, like Russia, I think is probably the most stable of most of these countries here. Yeah, but the war is putting a strain on most of these economies as there's protests globally over this war as well. Yeah, most people are very unhappy as well here. The 2028 election comes around as well here, and basically the Democrats are elected, and they basically promised that we're gonna make peace with Iran and end this war overall as well here, and the war is essentially over. This war that lasted for so long is officially over as well. Right before that, Belarus did surrender, but Belarus is not a very strong country as well here. So, most of the world has has basically said, hey, we're gonna make a peace deal for this as well. Only two countries refused to make a peace deal as well. So the world is still at war. Yeah. China and Russia make a peace deal, and that is Pakistan and North Korea. Yes, both of these countries refuse to make a peace deal. Pakistan eventually says, okay. The world basically says India and Pakistan, enough of your bullshit, and they give up as well. However, there is one country that refuses peace, and that is North Korea. North Korea is, of course, refusing peace because they finally own the Korean Peninsula, and now they're gonna destroy the U.S., Japan, and the world as well. But even China's like North Korea, the China and the U.S. agreed that North Korea must be finally finished for good, and yeah, North Korea, as a last attempt, new because North Korea has nukes Tokyo and several cities in China as well here, and also nukes LA as well. This is a soccer. This is the second time nukes have ever been used in any type of war, and of course, someone as crazy as Kim Jong Un, uses nukes as well, because North Korea was threatening the whole world that it was gonna take over the whole world. So yeah. So North Korea is finally gone forever, and no one will miss North Korea. So yeah. Goodbye.